All right. I am with Khensani.
Yes, sir.
How are you, Khensani?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Great, man. Yeah. Finally, we're here.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Khensani, I think maybe just explain what you do, and then we'll just get into the gist of it. Yeah.
Sure. So I'm Khensani Khoza, born and bred in Benoni, Joburg,
Yeah.
but based in Cape Town, and I am a musician. But I mean, we could break that up. I like to break it up into three parts.
Sure.
So I am a pianist, a session pianist. I'm also a music director, and I'm also a producer.
Producer, yeah.
Yeah, but also going on into technical directing as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think we'll just delve into those spheres.
Sure.
I think the only one that I know is probably producer. Like, I kind of like have an idea for what a producer is, but you just delve into that.
Sure.
Right? So let's get in the beginning.
Sure.
Right. What made you love music, or what was that song you were like, okay?
Yeah.
Or maybe is it in the family? What
Yeah.
was it?
Look, man, I think I've always had an interest ever since I was a child.
Sure.
You know, my earliest sort of like portrayal of my passion for music. I remember I made a flute out of paper, and I was just making sounds all over the house. It frustrated my dad.
Really?
It drove him
Nice,
crazy.
nice stuff,
You know,
yeah.
but I think that's when really the parents saw the interest in music.
Sure.
And my mom having a choir background, you know, she thought she'll just pour in what she knows, you know.
Yes.
So she started, so would have like this family choir, like. I made those people sing, man. Like every second night, I'm
Sure.
coming in with a book because we'd read the music actually.
Oh, yeah, so
So
you're writing
do re
music
mi
then.
fa sol la ti do. Not really writing it,
Yeah.
you know, but there are hymn books, you know,
Okay,
that
sure.
are written out already, you know. So I'd be coming with a hymn book like every night or every second night, and the whole family has to get on. Like my brothers must come sing as well.
Sure.
and would have this family choir, you know, and naturally that also spread into church, you know. Me and my brothers got into singing at church, so we'd have like a quartet and stuff. Yeah,
what?
I was a quartet. So a quartet is like a group of 4 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it like a duet?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
then
So
the
a
quartet
duet is
quadru,
2,
yes, that
3.
makes
Yeah,
sense. Yes, I
yeah.
understand. Sure.
Yeah. So we'd do stuff a cappella
So,
at church.
Meaning that you have 3 siblings,
I have 3 siblings. Yes.
all guys.
So 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh, okay, sure.
She I mean she's the age gap between me and my brothers is not that big. There's like
Okay.
a year 7 months, a year 10 months, you know.
Yeah.
And my sister, she came way back.
Oh, last
you
born.
know, last born, you know. So she wasn't really involved in that, you know.
Yes,
So it would be mostly just me and my brothers featuring my mom.
Oh, I see.
You know.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, so that was my first introduction into music. It was through singing. But then
So which means you can hold a chord.
I can hold a note. I don't like to hold a note because there are people who really hold a note.
Hold a
no?
note, yeah,
You know?
sure.
So I can hold a note, but I don't regard myself as a singer, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, even when I was singing, my true passion was really on the keyboard.
Okay.
You know.
Did you just fall in love like immediately with the keyboard, or did you play any other instruments?
I've always just loved the keyboard. I think it's also an exposure thing, you know.
Okay, sure.
So my grandparents are pastors. So the church sound used to stay.
Of course, yeah.
So whenever I'm visiting them, like they had to hide the keyboard from me, you know,
yeah,
as a kid. You know,
Sure.
I just wanted to beat something.
Yeah, sure.
You know, so
I mean,
even
at the time, did you know what you're playing, or was it just wanted to just play around with the keyboard?
I think I had an idea, you know. I was very observant. I think I was like 4 years old when I realized that no, when this guy plays to the right, the notes sound really high. When he plays to the left, they sound really low, you know. So I think I had developed a little bit of an understanding, you know, of what the instrument was about, you know. And then, I mean, my passion was always there. But funny story, at church, I come from a church of many branches. Ne?
Okay, sure.
But
Mega church.
yeah, not mega, but yeah. So the local branch I was in, the branch pastor then went and bought instruments because we didn't have instruments. We would just push a cappella. And he then resorted to play himself because no one could play. I couldn't play.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But this guy played really weird, man.
Oh, okay. So it was like
So at the time, like I'm starting to understand music, even though I can't play. So we'd be singing, and it's church, so songs come from anyone can start a song, and then and then he must follow, you know, get the key, and then follow.
Yeah.
But the thing with this guy is he played in one key, ne?
Okay.
I'll try sing it for you.
Yeah.
So what song could I sing?
You are Alpha.
Yeah. So say we're doing You are Alpha and Omega. Yeah. We worship you, our Lord. Yeah. You are worthy to be praised. That's the key we're on. Yes. You are Alpha. He'll come and play something close to You are Alpha and while we are on that key. So it is a mess. It is a mess, you know. But the funny thing is no one stops. We wouldn't stop to try sing on the key he's playing on, or it was a mess.
So the idea that I have with that, right, is I don't know if I listened to a music what's the word? Was it a music class or something like that? They said if someone is playing in a different key, kind of like you have to wait, and either you go to it if you can, or you ask the guy to stop, sing, then he follows you. So you guys were not doing something like that.
No one's following anyone. No one's following any. We all going.
So it's just going in a different direction.
We just going. You know?
Is it an octave?
It was a mess, man. It was a mess.
Sure.
So one day I can't play, man. I was tired of that. So I literally just got up from my chair and went to the keyboard and was like, I'll play.
Okay.
Yeah? And I just played with one finger.
Really?
Yeah. It was bad. Literally just... And I had this organ sound, so like when you press it stays for long.
Stays there,
You know, it was bad, man. It was bad, but at least I felt like we are in key now.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, at least when you were playing, you were still in key, though.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing, but I found a key that matched what they were singing.
Sure.
Just tried to figure my way around that.
Then how did the learning curve start then?
Yeah.
Did you start then, or how did you now starting to sharpen your skills here?
I think it started then, you know. I think the parents then saw that this boy is serious about this. That very week, they bought me a Casio keyboard to start practicing, you know. And also just the church, they gave as much support as they could, you know. When a guy was offering lessons, they'd hit me up like, hey, dude, go meet this guy, you know, sit down with him. And even people from, I remember my mom spoke to a keyboard player from another branch church to be like, hey, my kid is really passionate, man, but he's embarrassing himself.
Hey, looking out for you.
So help him out, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. And then I had my first lessons, the only really formal lesson, well, till later in life. But the foundational lessons, I could say, came at that point in time.
Sure.
You know, this guy showed me a couple of chords, you know, and we expanded on that. And then in a year, like, we had made serious growth, you know, where in the church I wasn't only playing at branch level, but I was playing, you know, for everyone across the country, you know.
And how old were you this time?
This was 2008, so I think I was about 14, 15. Yeah, I was 15. So I started playing in 2000. First time I laid hands was 2007, so I was 14. That's actually a pretty late start, you know.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like the people, the
Prodigies.
pioneering, the prodigies, you know, most start at the age of 4.
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
Yeah, I could have started at the age of 4
yeah,
if I had better exposure,
Sure,
you know.
Yeah.
But 14 is not bad. You know, my fingers are still flexible. Yeah. So I really went in, and I mean, from there, started interacting outside of church. You know, meeting other musicians, and yeah, that's how it all began. You know, and it's been growth since.
So thing is, like, just to understand a bit of keyboard, right? So since you're the keyboard,
Sure.
can I call you a keyboard master?
Not yet.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember when I used to be in circles of people who were playing keyboard, right? Apparently, people used to hide the keys that they're playing in. Is it a thing?
On the keyboard, it is. So there's the function called transpose.
Okay.
It's actually a cheat. You know.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Just press up if it's going up, down if it's
yeah.
going.
So on a keyboard, there's like 12 keys, you know? and all these keys are different. You know. So ideally, a professional keyboard player should be able to play in all 12 keys.
Okay.
Nah. But that's not the case with some guys. You find that they've only just learned to play in the one key.
Okay.
Nah. So the transpose function allows them to carry on playing in the one key, but still be able to play in other keys.
Sure.
You know?
Yes.
So it's like a cheat
code,
of some sort. So it's not them necessarily hiding. It's just them cheating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, sometimes there's what do they call them? I think I've listened to one like this YouTube guys. They said it's a secret code. It's like if it's a C, it's like you play it in a different way, but it almost sounds like a C.
Yeah.
It's like is the thing where people like they hide those secret keys that they have.
I mean, you can hide it from people, you know, but like from some people you can't hide anything because I mean, music is all about hearing, you know. So I can hear a chord and work it out on my own. Like if you play it, I got it. You can't hide it from me.
You can't really hide it.
Yeah, you know. But I mean, of course, some people haven't developed their ears to that stage, so they want to see actually the chord. You know? And you do get some people who are not so nice who will be like, I'm not going to give you my tricks. You know, find your own.
Sure.
You know,
is that because the reason why I was asking that is that what makes keyboard players different and special in a way?
Not really. You know, I think ideally we all kind of like play the same things. It's the same chords. I mean, there aren't a lot of chords in the world.
Sure.
Even the scales, there aren't a lot of. There is a lot, but we all kind of like
have an idea.
Have used the same things, you know. But what makes us different is how you use it, you know, and where you use it, you know. For example, like we all play the same chord, you know, but we'll have different ways of playing the chord, you know. I'll play a note up there to lead me to the chord. Someone else will play it down there, you know. So it's a personality thing. That's what makes us different. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the chord itself, and it's more the personality that.
Also, it's like I kind of get what you mean.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you mean. So you now understand, kind of like have an idea of the keyboard right now.
Sure.
So I like to believe that you're in music school.
I was.
You were.
I was. Yeah.
So how was that journey like? How was it like in the music school? And maybe you can just also let me know in terms of what was the end goal for being in the school.
Sure. I mean, I mean, the thing about music is a lot of people have invested time in learning how to play, you know. But we get to a stage where we're just playing and there's not much foundational knowledge to what we're playing, you know. And because there's no foundational knowledge, we can't really expand on what we know, because we're not asking the right questions. Sure. We're not, you know. So that was my purpose for going to school. It was not necessarily to learn to play, but rather to inform my playing.
Okay,
you know?
Sure.
So yeah, I did school. I mean, it gave me a great foundational knowledge of what I've been doing, you know. But with that knowledge, I could then expand on it, you know. I learned to ask the right musical questions, you know. And if you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you really want, you know. So that was the experience of school for me. It just unlocked the thinking part of the music, you know. So it made me a very intentional musician. I don't just do things because that's how they're done, or just because that's how I feel it should be. But there is information that backs it up, you know. So it's like when I'm on stage, I feel like I'm constantly making decisions. Decisions. You know, how am I gonna get to that chord? How am I gonna? And then all that knowledge kind of informs that.
And then at school, what do you have like subjects that you're doing? If you do, maybe you can just highlight maybe some of the subjects that you're doing there.
Sure.
And then what do you get out of them?
Sure.
As you speak, yeah.
I mean, one of the subjects was, of course, piano and technique, and all of that.
Just sorry, before you get to that. Yeah. So when you get to music school, do I have to know how to play the piano?
Yes, you do.
Or a guitar, whatever.
Yes, you do. Because most music schools, at a tertiary level, you must audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the audition is gruesome.
Really?
Audition is gruesome.
Like so you must. Okay, before we get to the subjects, just take me through the auditions. How is it like?
So with the audition process, they'll give you music that you should learn, and they'll give you the tracks and the sheet music to that music so you can prepare. Yeah?
So being able to read music.
Yeah.
Does an average piano player know how to read music?
No.
Okay.
Not in South Africa.
Okay.
Not in South Africa. In other parts of the country, it's a standard. You go to the States. I mean, they do music in high school, so they really drill that in. Even in parts of the country. But like for most musicians that are in the industry right now, they haven't had that kind of background. You know, most of us were self-taught.
Okay.
So we're learning all of this at a later age.
Sure.
You know. Yeah.
So how was it like now when you're there? They were telling.
It's
so did you know how to read at the time? Or
Yeah. Luckily, from the church I come from.
Sure.
You know, but I wasn't a great reader though.
Okay, sure.
Know? So I learned the pieces that they gave me that I could prepare, and I think that's what got me in. You know, I prepared those pieces.
Yes,
note for note, went through the detail. Yeah. But then there's also a unprescribed piece that you get there, where they just put a paper in front of you and they're like, play. Yeah. You don't. I didn't even know the song. You know? It was a piece by Oscar Peterson.
It's so weird that music can be written.
Yeah.
Like, so how is it like? Do they write? Let's say, for example, we're singing in You Are Alpha, right? Do they play? Because there's like a time delay as well. In music writing, do they show you, okay, it will take this long to the next?
Yeah. So when you read notes, like they represent both pitch, like the note itself, and then they also represent how long the note is, the rhythm. Sure. So you gotta have a firm grasp. So on the vertical you'll get the pitch, you know, but the nature of the note. If it's just a black thingy with a stick, that means something. If it's a black thingy with a stick and a cap, that means something else. Sure. It means the note is shorter and all of. If there's a dot after that, it means something else. You know, so that gives you the rhythm. You know, so when you're reading music, you must get both the pitch and the rhythm. You know, so from just looking at a piece of paper, you can be able to to play out a whole song.
Wow. it feels like a superpower, man. Literally. Like if you can just do that, like I feel like I've got superpower.
Yeah, no, it's a great skill to have, man.
Sure,
it's a great skill to have.
Yeah, I think I once heard someone say that every human being should be able to play at least one instrument.
Yeah, I think that would be great, man. I think I agree with that person, you know. I mean, I've delved into teaching music, particularly to kids and teenagers, you know. And then the results of that is really great in the academics as well, you know. I mean, kids who do well in music generally have a firmer grasp of concepts in mathematics and science, you know. And there've been studies on that, you know. So yeah, I think it would be great. It's really it enhances the mind.
Yes.
You know,
I mean, like, music is part of our life as humans. So sure, I think at the point it should, like, at least be able to express your feeling through an instrument. It could be a way of detoxing.
Definitely.
Instead of necessarily having to go to a psychologist or whatever, just play music. And I think you were talking about the Bible there. What's this guy? David playing music which cast away.
Exactly.
You understand? So there would be a lot of healing that's
definitely
happening. Maybe God has something. We just don't know.
No, man, music is powerful, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Music is powerful.
It is.
It's powerful, you know.
I was listening to some guy who was saying that music is one of the reasons why we got our freedom in South Africa. Miriam Makeba doing Yuma Sekela, the late
definitely.
Yeah, so those guys, they were kind of like, they got the message out using music.
Yeah.
And they didn't see it coming. Because you know, when you're striking, you kind of see,
and man, that's music is really a powerful tool, you know. And I feel, I mean, people argue that our generation doesn't fully realize the power of music, you know, because in the content that we put out, it's really just vibes, you know.
I see.
But I mean, even if you look at that closely, I think it's necessary, those vibes, you know, because we're living in an age where we need to escape our realities for some time, you know. Like, man, the work day is overwhelming. It's hectic, you know, especially for us black people, being black in white corporate SA. It's frustrating, you know. So you need a place where you can, or a vehicle,
work,
you know, where you can just relax, you know. So the old people saying that our music today, well, our context is different. You
context
know?
is different.
But the music is still just as powerful, you know, as it was when Miriam Makeba fought for our liberation. You know, So it doesn't lose its power, man. It will last from
it will last
as long as humankind lives.
You can't take away music out of even okay. Let me not. I feel like I don't want to digress, right?
Sure.
So tell me, who are your most favorite musicians? Like, whether it be, maybe I'll ask it in two parts, right?
Sure.
Who are your favorite musicians, and then who are your favorite keyboard players?
Sure.
Yeah.
Your favorite musicians. Whew. Yeah, that's because I listen to so much music, man.
Yeah. I think maybe you can just say, well, the one that you like, you're listening to now.
Right now. So like I think now my taste is very varied, you know. Like there are moments where I want to just do jazz, you know.
Sure.
And in that space, there's a guy called Gerald Clayton.
Gerald Clayton.
Yeah,
I'll just check them out.
You might not enjoy him though, but I'm really connecting with that guy. In the gospel space, I don't know, because I'm enjoying a lot of people. Nathaniel Bassey, I'm enjoying quite a lot. Yes. Nathaniel Bassey, and like these Nigerian guys.
Yeah,
man.
sure.
Even in the secular space, you know, even the.
Do you know a lady by Tay Bello?
Yes.
Bello.
Yes.
She has an album that she had recently. And I really loved it. I think
Sure.
uh, she mixed some of Arabic
Yeah.
sounds.
Sure.
She put it
Sure.
inside.
Sure.
And it sounds Arabic because. With Arabic,
Yeah.
very close to Africa. She
Yeah.
adds
Yeah.
her own
Yeah.
conga drums
Sure,
there. Oh,
sure,
man,
sure.
that's really
She's
nice.
amazing.
She's really
She's
amazing,
amazing. She's
Yeah.
amazing. Another guy I really love though is a guy called PJ Morton. Yeah, no.
PJ
Morton.
Morton.
Yeah.
Okay.
PJ Morton.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm loving that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just check them out.
Sure.
Like, all the guys are talking about, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't even know what.
Yeah,
to say.
even the podcasters guys, check out PJ Morton, man.
Oh, PJ Morton.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
I'll check
like-
them out. I really
yeah,
check them
no.
out, and I have this thing that I do where I have music of the month and music
Sure.
of the week.
Sure.
So I know if I find a song which is nice,
Yeah.
I'll bump it the whole week up until
Sure.
it comes out of my system.
Sure.
So
Sure.
and,
Sure.
and once it gets out of my system, I'm looking to jump into the next one.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll actually check them out,
Sure.
and then if it's something that I'm actually vibing with,
Yeah.
I'll just be
Yeah.
bumping them, and you'll
Sure.
just see me there. Okay, guys, listen to this guy.
Sure.
So, in
Sure.
terms of keyboard players, who are your favorite?
I mean, so keyboard players. There's two guys in SA. Siyanqoba Mthethwa, who's actually with Joyous now, and there's a guy called Kutlwano from Pretoria.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. No, Kutlwano, that guy is crazy, man. He's sick. He's not normal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then internationally, I really vibe with a guy called Joe Pryor
Joe Pryor. Okay.
and another guy called Dominic Bryce.
Dominic Bryce.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also then I have my favorite producers.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like Aaron Lindsay is probably top of the list. Now
Yeah.
he's the guy behind a lot of American
Projects.
guys. Yeah.
Okay.
If you talk your Martin Saps, your whatnots, he's behind them. Aaron Lindsay is great. Who else? David Outing. He recently did a project in SA with a group in SA. I don't know if I can mention them, but
Is it out already?
it's out. It's
Yeah,
out.
you can mention them.
Yeah, the Jesus Collective.
Oh yes, I think I've heard it.
Yeah, so they had an American producer, co-producer album. Now that producer, he's sick, man.
Do they have a project out already?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
out.
I'll
It's
check it out.
out,
I'll
yeah.
check it out.
It just recently came out. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I think they were in Cape Town, right?
they're a Cape Town-based group actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
doing big things.
Yeah. I
Doing
think
big
because I
things.
remember the ones at Lebogang Khapola.
Yeah.
I think on campus at some point.
Sure.
I really loved the album.
That was really great.
That one it's a timepiece.
Yeah,
Like, that one,
definitely.
literally that one.
Definitely.
I feel like it's gonna be. I don't know how because that one I feel like that was a download from heaven. To come back from that kind of a piece, because like
Sure.
song after song after song.
Yeah,
after song after
yeah,
song, literally. No man.
Yeah, that was
too
great.
much.
That was great. Big ups to Lebu Khapola. on
Yes,
that,
big
yeah.
ups. Yeah, definitely. I love that. And then, so you're saying Jesus Collective, they're based in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, any other producers?
Well, there's a whole lot, you know. I generally like to appreciate everyone's work.
Oh yeah,
you
sure,
know.
sure. So
Yeah.
maybe let's talk about your production, right?
Yeah.
How is the production world? Maybe just trying to explain it. Like how does it work?
Yeah.
Let's say if I have a song,
Sure.
where does the producer comes in?
Sure.
Or do you actually as an artist, do I just come to you and say like, okay, I want to create an album,
Sure.
and then you chop it up for me in terms of depending on the ideas that I have?
Yeah.
So I just want to understand how does
Yeah.
it work?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with an idea, you know. For me, I like to be involved from the very beginning, you know. So it starts with an idea, and if you have music, then we work on that, you know. I like to have my fingerprint on the song itself,
Okay.
you know. Just make tweaks here and there to what I feel, would work. But obviously keeping in mind the artist's vision, and then from the songwriting stage,
Do you write songs?
me, let's say I'm like a half composer.
Okay. Sure.
Sure. Yeah, one thing about me is I don't like to do stuff alone. I feel that the more minds on it, the better. And there are some brilliant minds around me, which I like to really just put them to work. Sure. So even the smallest ideas, I just pass it out to guys. That guys bring back your ideas. And normally what comes back is really great stuff, that I can use. So yeah, I mean, for some artists, if we're doing like a big project, like an album, then I'll put together a group of songwriters, so that I don't critique the songs on my own. I have a whole team that will look at the songs and we just work on the songs.
It allows you, like you're saying, allows you to bounce ideas.
Yeah.
Sure. I like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if I were to do everything on my own, you guys would just hear me.
It's your touch,
and over the many projects that I do, you'd get bored of me.
Sure.
So having a big team really helps me keep fresh.
Sure, definitely,
Yeah. So we'll work on the songs. And then once the songs are in, I as a producer, I would then manage the project, like the logistics of the project as well.
So what does that mean?
So that means assembling a team of musicians, the drummer, the bass player, the backing vocals, if we need them, assembling them, arranging rehearsals, and there's quite a lot of preparation that goes into the rehearsals themselves, and then
is it a thing where you need to know how the in the rehearsals, how everyone should play their role in the right way?
But I mean more so it with the rehearsals, it starts here. Like when I assemble a team, obviously not all artists have big budgets, Sure. So I've got to find the best musicians within a specific area, to meet the budget constraints, and then also rehearsals, finding a place that works, and then when getting into rehearsals, by then, like, the song should be complete for me, the song, so I should have laid out everyone's parts, but I still give them freedom to add if there are great ideas that they can add, but the song should be like 80% done, or the album 80% done by the time we start with rehearsals, So like all tracking and whatnots, pre-productions, that's done by the time rehearsals start. And then obviously when we get into rehearsal, I must know every part, I must know everything the vocals do, everything the guitar player does, everything the drummer does, and still be able to focus on my job as a piano player as well.
So now you're explaining the transition from being a producer to MD, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my case, I'm a producer.
Okay.
But I also direct, so I'm doing both, at the same time.
I see.
But I mean, I could on a gig say that I'm not going to get on stage. I'm not going to play the piano, So that means that I don't have control over the stage. So what happens on stage, there's a man responsible for that, Sure. So I'll just be responsible for the pre-work, working with the music director and approve some of his ideas, but once they get on stage, he's the man in charge. And then the producer will only come back once they get off stage post-production. Post-production,
Is that the part where there's mastering
and all of that,
And then now the mastering, is it part of what you should have as a producer?
Not really. You don't have to mix and master yourself as a producer.
Okay.
Like for me, I don't, and I know a lot of producers in SA generally don't mix and master, because there's mixing and mastering engineers, who do a really great job.
Do you perhaps have an idea of how that world works?
Yes. I mean, so to get into the mixing and mastering stuff, you need to go to school for that. You know, yeah. I mean, people do self-teach. You know, but like for me as a producer, I can tell. Yeah, I can tell the difference, you know. So to get into the mixing and mastering space, it's important that you make the investment in education, you know, to actually become a sound engineer, you know. Because yeah, man, you as a sound engineer, you don't hear things as everyone else does, you know. So generally, most mixing and mastering engineers have had education, you know, but they've also inserted themselves into a network of some sort, you know, because you'll find that some of them were musicians before they went to sound engineering school, so they can play an instrument and they know other musicians, you know, and that's how they'd get work, you know. Yeah, but how I, as a producer, deal with them is...
Yeah, because I wanted to say that going back to MD...
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So as a producer, I'll get in... I prefer to get in the mixing guy at the recording stage. So I want the guy to be at the event. And so the guy to make sure that the recording process is clean. You know, like you don't want to record and then at the end of the recording you hear the lead vocal had a buzz on it, like bzzz, the whole time, you know. Sure. So I'll task the mixing engineer with making sure that the recording is clean. Yeah, and also, man, they're very fussy. Like the mic must be placed like this and whatnot. Sure. I don't care about that. So you come in and put your mic the way you want to, you know. Yeah. And generally after that, they will then get the recorded files, and then they begin the mixing process. You know, but I obviously brief them that this is the type of sound that we're going for, and then it's a back and forth. You know, sometimes I may have to add stuff. You know, things go wrong during the recording. You know,
like, are you serious?
Things go wrong every recording. There's no perfect recording.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no perfect recording. Like a vocal sings off note or a bass player plays a wrong note and whatnot. Then I'm in charge of that process to correct everything that's wrong.
Correcting means that you call the bass player back.
Yeah, I call the bass player back.
Plays together with... Oh, I see.
Or sometimes you feel that, it just didn't work. What you did on the live thing or this approach just didn't work. So I'll get in even the vocals, get them in. Let's sing it differently this time. Let's do this and that, you know. Yeah, so I'll do that as a producer, and then whatever corrections we've made, send them forward to the mixing engineer, and then there's a back and forth, like, take that down, take that up, you know.
You want to hear more of this?
I want to hear more of this, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Then there's that, and once the mix is done, so that's a mixing process. And once that's done, it goes into mastering, which is a very short process. Because mastering, the main purpose of it, one of the purposes is to just give volume to the mix and make sure that the music meets the standards of like radio and TV and whatnot. Yeah. Sure. So that's basically all mastering does, you know. But most of the work for those engineers is in the mixing. You know, but I mean, there's also really technology is changing. You know, so mastering is getting more hectic now.
Is it?
It's getting more hectic now because normally you'd have a stereo mix where you just hear left and right.
Sure.
But there's a technology that's come in now called Dolby Atmos.
Okay.
So that gives you like a whole surround. It gives you height. It gives you. And so you'll hear when you're listening to a Dolby mix, you'll hear things from the back of your head. You know, you hear things right in front of you instead of just left and right. Yeah. You know, so that's it's going to make listening to music very fun.
Very interesting. Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of the technology on movies
Sure.
where if something's happening behind you, is it 4D music, something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
So you hear the sound behind you.
Yeah.
If someone is shouting
Yeah.
and they are far,
Yeah.
as they come closer, you kind of
You hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, that the thing is with movies, it's the sound systems they have in theaters are really, really dope.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's a whole surround system
Yes,
in a movie
yes.
theater.
I think they've been using Dolby as well.
Yeah, it is Dolby.
Yeah.
It's definitely Dolby. But what's happening now is that Dolby is becoming more accessible. Like at some point, you'll have a Dolby setup with just in ears.
Okay.
Or earphones, and headphones.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more accessible to normal people. And with that, like most mastering guys will have to go into Dolby, and they are.
Changes the whole game.
It does.
Changes the whole game.
It does.
It's like, at the back, I just want someone to be shouting. Or just doing a poem. Oh, that's nice stuff. So, as a session, because I think you kind of like explained both producer and MD, right?
Yeah.
So, as a session artist, musician,
Yeah.
how does that one work then?
I know as a session musician, I just show up and play. That's the most basic part.
Sure.
Like another producer maybe wants my touch on the piano. They send me the music, I rehearse it, I go to studio and I just play. And that's it.
Would you be keen to be? This is just I'm putting you on the spot. Would you be keen to be like in a group like this is let's say whatever, the Aquila Stillwater, like and then you be part of a group, or is it limiting? What would you be keen to do that?
Yeah, man, I've had opportunities to be in groups, but it's not something that I saw myself in. I like to expose myself to everyone and everything. And yeah, group dynamics can get quite tedious. So I don't think I'd put myself in a group.
Sure.
Nah. I don't think. Yeah.
And then why do you say that it's a bit tedious?
People are people.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And let me say, creatives are an interesting bunch of people.
Yeah.
So a lot of issues arise from having a number of people. It's either one. You remember when you did group assignments in university?
Someone puts
others are not fully. You get me?
Yeah.
So it's those such dynamics. Sure. So yeah, I'm not really.
I think I kind of like understand what you mean in terms of even most of the time. I think recently we just heard that. I don't know if this is allegedly or the real thing, that the Black Motion guys have split.
Sure.
So it's a group as well.
Yeah.
So it's like almost all groups, they kind of at some point actually split.
Definitely. But I mean, I feel like some people do need the group, to set them up and to give them a platform to express themselves. It is for some people, definitely. But me, I like to be everywhere,
yeah,
with,
sure. But being in the group does still allows you to be everywhere, right?
It could. I mean, you could work around it. You could work around it. But I mean, if getting into a group, you sign certain contracts.
I see.
And thing is, the contract binds you as well as an individual to the group. So you gotta think
Kind of like
4 times,
sure.
before thinking. I mean, some group arrangements are that if you're part of the group, like all music written for the group is owned by the group.
Oh yeah, sure.
So like, and it ties you in as an individual as well. So you can't write your own music and perform it as yourself.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I know what you mean,
So it does limit, but I mean that's not always the arrangement. But yeah, it does stifle some
Yeah,
flexibility in
definitely.
a
I
sense.
think I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so on session music.
George, who?
I'm trying to say it right. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a session musician, right?
Yeah.
So basically, that's what you're doing. You go there, and then you go there by invite, right?
Yeah.
So someone invites you.
Yeah.
Someone invites you, and then you go there, and then you sit down with them, and like, okay, this.
Sure.
So they break it down for you.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe I just want to get into the like an average. I think maybe in your level, or maybe you can just move on to a higher level as well.
Sure.
What's the average payout of a musician?
Yeah.
Let's say if someone you're being called, there's a project that's happening, and then we're going to be recording an album.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe whether it be live or a studio one.
Sure.
What's an average payout for
Sure.
a musician? Or
Sure.
and then maybe you can even explain, okay, who gets more guap
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
drums and everything, or is it like standard?
No, I mean it's not really standard, and also it depends on the profile of the person that you're calling.
Okay.
You know, there are some high-profile musicians, high-profile drummers, high-profile bass players, so you won't pay them the same as you would pay someone you're pulling from your church to.
Yeah.
You know, so there are those dynamics. So not everyone gets the same pay
Sure.
in a team. You know, but I mean. In the gospel, let me talk corporate first. I mean, that could range from anything. The artist would get a minimum of say 30K for them to come in with their band. You know, for like
an artist.
yeah.
Okay, sure. With the
yeah,
band.
for like an hour set. That's like a really mid-level artist. You know, and then some artists pay their musicians 1.5, you know, and then others really do pay their guys well, you know. So 30K is like for an artist, they'll probably walk away with 10, and the other 20 is split between between the rest of the crew. But I mean, it goes up. It goes up. I mean, I was looking at who's this? Uzaik's Bantwini's rate card.
Yeah, I actually had that. Yeah.
Yeah, 400K for a live session with his crew.
Sure.
400K, you know. So it yeah, you know. That's in the corporate and the circular space. In the gospel space, it's also quite similar. It's also quite similar, but in the gospel space, there's generally a whole lot more work that goes in by the team. And that, say, if you're doing a live recording or a live show, like the sets are normally like 2 hours long, and the music is quite intense, you know. So for that, I mean, then the artist doesn't make anything because we are.
Yeah, the guys who they have
Yeah,
to pay you guys.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So I mean, for a normal live recording, you're looking at about between 15 and 20K. And that's like a solid month's work.
So for a live recording,
Yeah.
you can like make your money from the gigs that you get after the project is out.
No. The artist, yes. The artist gets their money from the gigs that follow.
Sure.
But the rest of the crew must be paid.
Must be paid.
Yeah.
Yes,
So the backing vocals for a live recording and the band and everyone must get paid, you know.
Okay. So and then the backing vocals, and then just say the backing. So how much are they going home with?
Sadly, backing vocals generally go home with much less than the band members. You know, for them it is yeah. Even though they like after the artist, people see the PVs, but generally they go home with the least money
That's
in the
very
crew.
interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense because the thing with I mean, one, the music space is very unregulated. You know.
Yes, I think I listened to. I don't know if you have listened. Do you know about this podcast with nail, something like that.
Yes.
The Mahlangu,
Yeah. Sure.
So they were actually talking about the same thing, that it's unregulated.
It's unregulated,
Sure.
yeah. And I think that's what's killing the backing vocals. Because there are so many skillful vocalists in the country, you know. You go to any church, you'll probably find one or two solid vocalists that you could put at that standard, you know. So I just feel that when it comes to backing vocals, like the supply is way over the demand, you know. And because of that, the pricing is just going to go low. You come with a crazy price.
Which makes sense, yeah. Because with the drums or whatever instrument that you're playing.
Sure. The supply is not so much.
It's not so much.
Yeah. The quality supply.
Yes. Because you're right. Because the quality, there's also quality about that, right?
Sure.
I understand why people want working with you. And it's a full package, but I want you to also touch on that, right?
Sure.
I think most people, they've also talked about it as well. To say that there is a mix between skill and personality.
Sure.
And I think you embody
Sure.
you embody that. Let me just touch on that as well. To say that, okay, it's not just important you have the skill, but also have the character.
Sure. Look, man, character is important, man. If you're not going to show up where you committed to show up, you know, that says a lot about you. You can't be relied on, you know. So I've tried to create a brand that makes people feel safe, you know, that he'll pull this off. He'll do this. He'll be where he needs to be for you. He'll go the extra mile, you know. And it's something I've had to cultivate, you know, but also like with the passion that I have for what I do, it comes easy, you know. Like when I do something, I really want it to be the best, you know, even though it's the artist's project and they get all the shine. It's still my work, and I want to be proud of it at the end of the day, you know. So and the thing for me, even if there's no budget, you know, I'll still invest myself, you know, because I mean, your work speaks for you at the end of the day, you know. And I mean, going that route means you gotta get certain things right, you know. You must be able to relate with the artist, you know. Because I mean, me wanting to be proud of my work, I can't go and just take over someone's project and enforce myself.
Ideas,
you know, I gotta hear them, and that's something that some people don't get some in other places. Like they don't feel heard, they don't feel understood. You know, they don't feel listened to. You know, and another thing is that this space is very intimidating, man. The music space, you know, for artists.
For artists. Okay.
Man, I kid you not, artists have the biggest insecurities. They even though they're on stage and they vibing with 1,000 people, they are sure, most of them, the great ones, are very insecure.
They're aware of themselves.
Yeah, very self-conscious. You know?
Sure.
So they need someone to just encourage them as well, constantly, you know, to say, no, dude, you got this, you know. I mean, people that have been doing this still feel like that, you know, before going to stage. They get nervous and they're like, yo, Kens, will people receive this, you know? So it's important for a producer to just walk with the artist as well, you know, hold their hand, encourage them, you know, and just boost their confidence as well. So and I mean this comes a little bit from experience, from spending time with people and building the relationships with them. You know, you learn what makes them tick, and you speak to that.
It's so interesting. I have a question that I've just thought about now. I think maybe I'll just put it maybe at the end.
Sure.
So I think I like that. Like you're saying that it's also bringing a different light to kind of like understand what you guys are doing.
Sure.
It's a very mutual space.
Yeah.
Kind of like literally what you're talking about. Because I'm an engineer, right?
Sure.
So when you're building a house,
Yeah.
like you've heard about people, they say there's a plumber.
Yeah.
Plumber comes and
Yeah.
opens up. The
Yeah.
other guy, electrician, comes and opens
Sure.
the road. In a sense, but it's collaboration to make sure that the project goes out as
Definitely.
perfect as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm actually realizing that you kind of like have to have a relationship with the artist so that you can
Yeah.
get out what the artist wants.
Definitely.
Out of it, yes. So
Definitely.
it's actually when I saw the parallel, I was like, oh yeah, that's very interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Sure.
it seems like it's how the system of how human beings are supposed to be. If
Sure.
you're building any project,
Sure.
there's gonna be different people,
Exactly.
and at least that's why they need a project manager,
Exactly.
producer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like an aha moment for
Yeah.
me, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually like that.
Sure.
What did I want? Maybe let me just go to the question. Cause
Sure.
yeah. So, did you have any problem deciding between school and music? And then how was that like?
Yes, man. I think it was a struggle. You know, it was a struggle coming from where I come from, black parents. You know,
I wanted to be a doctor.
yes, wanted me to be a civil engineer. Actually,
Okay, sure,
yeah.
sure.
Even though they cultivated the music gift, they're not really for it. You know, so I think, yeah. So I tried this music thing out of matric. It didn't work out. You know.
So when you finished matric, you just
Yeah,
went.
after,
Yeah,
I was like, nah, I'm gonna take a
We're
gap
still
year.
in Joburg.
I was in Joburg.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tried this music thing in Pretoria. It didn't work out.
So
know.
were you playing with a team? What
Yeah.
was the situation
I
like?
mean, then I was with a group. You
Okay.
know,
Now I understand why
that's
you
why I learned that. No groups.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
sure,
I
sure.
but I mean, I was pretty young. You know, I think I was like 19, and
Yeah, I'm sure you were
everyone
young, yeah.
was way older. You know, way more experienced. Tried it out with the gents. It didn't work out. Broke out from that. You know, and found myself in more advanced circles. And yeah, it didn't work out. You know. So I kind of parked the music thing for a while and just did it occasionally, you know, and just left it for church, you know. And then I came to Cape Town, and that's where like it really caught fire, you know. I think God aligned a string of people in my path, you know, and like just one relationship led to another and led to another, you know, and I found myself very invested in the music, you know. First, it was a very stupid decision, but I can live off this thing.
So is it when you're in Cape Town?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
This is now when I'm in Cape Town, you know.
Yeah.
And the
So
parents-
you make that decision. Okay, I feel like I can live out of this year.
I mean, to be honest, so I came here to study civil, you know.
CPUT.
At CPUT.
Sure,
yeah.
sure,
So I was doing civil engineering there. But man, civil was really not for me. You know.
Sure.
It was and it was not that I'm struggling or anything or I'm ill disciplined or
Yeah.
something.
You're just not feeling it.
It was just not for me.
Yeah.
You know, and like going into prayer, like no, I just felt a heavy conviction that this is not for me.
Yeah.
You know. And at that point in time, like the music is just taking off. Kids don't leave school. If you feel
It's very much important.
very important.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did, you know, and unless the conviction is really strong, you know, because I mean, I hear people say Steve Jobs didn't go to varsity.
Didn't finish.
Chief, you're not Steve Jobs. You know, and it won't go for you the way it did for Steve Jobs. Maybe it will, but there's a chance it won't, you know. So I don't encourage people leaving civil engineering to pursue music.
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
But in my case, like, man, the conviction was really heavy.
And God was confirming it.
Yeah, God definitely.
Sure.
Definitely. So it was actually an easy choice for me, you know. I just, while at CPUT, I just applied to a music school, CMI. And in the following year, I just went there, you know, and studied music, you know. And maybe that's another principle, like, if you're going to make a jump, inform that jump. you know.
Okay.
Go to school, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Go
like
to school.
You have to be prepared. For
Yeah.
the jump that you
You,
want
I
to
mean,
go
you
into.
you gotta expose yourself to the business of music. You know, you gotta learn about the business of music. You know, you don't just go out and then you'll fall hard. You know, you need some sort of foundational knowledge to guide you through. You know, and yeah, I thank God. Got into school. But then the struggle really began for me, because then the parents were like, well, you made your bed, lie in it, you know?
Yeah.
So now...
How was that?
That was hectic.
Yeah,
For a year. For a year, it was hectic. Because I'm not getting much work. I don't have much of a profile. And the little work that I'm getting doesn't pay that much, you know? It's just enough to cover my rent and get me food, you know? But... some months I must call home and be like, "Ish, I'm short."
Yeah, sure.
You know? So it was a bit of a struggle, but I mean, I'm grateful to God, man, because the progress that I made is I feel it's in a very short space of time, you know. People get to where I am and with about 10, 15 years of work, you know. And I've made it in barely 5 years, you know. So I'm really grateful to God. So like, I grew very quickly, you know. Outgrew some relationships very quickly, made relationships very quickly, you know. So I adapted quite nicely, and finally found my footing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually very, very interesting to hear that story. Of course, my interaction with you, it might have been through, I don't know if it's through Speedy, but maybe I think it was because I'm only thinking of two people. Probably it was Jeff, Speed, one of the two, via SEO. Right? So I knew that if there was a big gig that was happening, there's one guy that's gonna call, and you know he's coming with the big
big keyboard.
Big keyboard.
Yeah.
And I mean, like literally when you play, you could tell that there's it's an upper echelon type of thing. Like, it's a big star.
Sure.
And I actually love that as well. And it's actually quite interesting seeing that, okay, there was like a whole build up behind that.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, in terms of what informed you coming to Cape Town? Like, was it something like where you feel like, okay, this way, I feel like at this point, this is where God spoke?
Yeah. No, I think what informed me to come to Cape Town was a girl, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a girl brought me to Cape Town,
Sure.
but God made me stay, you know.
So you were following your lover?
I was following, she was from East London, long distance thing, you know.
Sure.
So like next year,
I'm coming.
Cape Town, you
Sure.
know.
Wow.
Yeah, that didn't last though,
Yeah.
but
Oh shame.
yeah,
But I mean, like, it's one of those things where you see
yeah.
the hand of God, like, hey,
Definitely,
yeah, sure.
definitely. You know, and I mean, there's a lesson there, man. Like, even in our humanity, God's hand is still involved. You know, even when we think we're following our own wisdom, you know, and we're making mistakes like crazy, God's hand is still there.
You know, God is able to to make it work for your good.
Exactly.
Yes.
All things work together for good, man. You know? Yeah. So I think when I started the music thing, the big conversation around me was, dude, if you're gonna do music, Joburg is the place to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. But even then I just felt that no, I gotta do it in Cape Town. You know. I remember, man, there was before this whole thing started.
Sure.
So that year I came. There was fees must fall.
Yes.
So I had to write some exams in Cape Town.
Sure.
So I came back pretty early to write those exams. You know, and then I made the call immediately after that to pursue music. Now, since I'm pursuing music, I am not in res there, so I have literally no place to stay. And everyone is like, already, dude, you're doing music, go to Joburg. And the circumstance on the ground is that you don't even have a place to stay. Just go to Joburg.
Definitely,
you know? But man, something wouldn't let me go. you know. I remember in my home church there was like they had a youth camp
Sure.
in Cape Town,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was gonna play that camp and then drive back to Joburg with the guys that came
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
sure,
camp.
definitely, yeah.
Man, on the last day of the camp, I ditched. I didn't go to church. Switched off my phone. They called. They couldn't get, so they left without me.
Sure.
Switched it on the next day. I'm like, chance. I couldn't go. Something wouldn't let me
And
go.
it's so interesting because some of the things that I want to document on the podcast is for those who believe in God, just have a way of kind of like seeing how God is nudging other people, so that when He uses the same nudge, you kind of like you see, okay, this is the voice of God.
Sure.
The perfect example is when I don't know if it's Eli or Elisha or whatever, Samuel, they're calling Samuel. They're like, here I am. Like, no, go and say here I am.
Sure.
So kind of like having like some form of a template, because God will always use different ways to talk.
Definitely.
If He uses the same way that He used on you,
Yeah.
at least someone else should be able to say it.
I'll believe it much quicker. You know?
Yeah. So those decisions were bringing you to where you are at the
Definitely.
moment.
Definitely. You know, I remember that week a friend of mine took me in, and to me, I didn't think that this guy is a friend. You know,
Shout out. Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him quite a lot in recent times. You know, like the communication is very sporadic. You know, but he just hits me up. Hey, man, where you at? Hey, and then I just open up to the guy, and he's like, "No, come stay with me."
Yeah.
You know, shout out to Sandlam Kalipi.
Oh, Sandla. Yeah. Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was with him, you know, trying to find my feet,
definitely.
you know. And yeah, man, God was faithful, you know, God was faithful. He didn't put me to shame, you know. The decision.
The plan,
yeah, you know.
Oh, that's very beautiful, man. Shout out to Sandla.
Yeah, man.
Oh, we played soccer with Sandla.
Yeah.
Yo, Sandla is a shot, man. I remember the other time we were playing soccer with Sandla. Hit the top, like you could feel like, no, it was a shot. Yeah. Shout out to Sandla, yeah. And I mean, I think maybe just to close, what is, I know most people probably they might want to run away from this question, but what is the one biggest project that you worked on? You're like, yeah, I'm very proud of this project.
Hey, I want to run away as well.
I knew it.
Yo, look, man, I think for me, I consider myself still to be like in a developmental stage.
Oh, yeah, sure,
you know?
sure.
I still see myself occupying, you know, higher spaces.
Yes.
So for me, like, I try to make every project I do the biggest one.
Yeah,
So if I were to answer you, my biggest project so far would be the last one that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I really understand, because literally that was a question that was just to put you on the spot.
Sure.
And I kind of like I knew the answer already. I was like, no, I'm gonna get a political answer. Yeah. Like, well. But I literally totally understand, because it's like most of the time when artists, or whether it be AKA, you tell them what's your favorite song on this album, like, they're all my children, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing to me?
I
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But I just thought maybe I should just put it out there and find out maybe if there's any project that you liked. And maybe if there is, what is it that you like the most out of it?
No, I think for me, man, it's the last one, because like I'm constantly learning so much.
Oh, sure,
constantly learning so much. So on every new project, like, I'm trying to implement new things. You know, trying to just improve the whole process, you know. So and it's working out so far. Like I'm really rising in steps. That's why it's the last one. I won't lie. Like,
okay, now get it.
You know?
I think maybe just to touch a bit on this, right? Because I feel like maybe there might be someone who wants to become a musician, right?
Sure.
In terms of eating from it, is it something which because it's like a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. There have to be clients who are
Yeah.
coming through.
Yeah.
And just explain in terms of,
Sure.
is it something that you feel like it's something that's sustainable for you?
Yeah.
What have you learned?
Yeah.
And what are the other ways that you're doing to maybe
Yeah.
like set yourself? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Look, man, it is business. You know, every business principle that you can think of does apply to the music industry.
Sure.
You know, like knowing your target market and appealing to it, you know, supply and demand and all of that, you know, it all applies in the music business. I mean, for example, I see a lot of musicians today, they want, and by musicians I mean like keyboard players, drummers, bass players.
Sure.
They want to be celebrities, you know.
Oh, okay.
They trying to speak to a market that I think is not theirs, you know. So I quickly had to snap out of that actually I don't need everyone to know me. I just need artists to know me. How do I then get artists to know me? You know, and just concentrate my efforts.
Yeah, that's big, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
You know, just concentrate my efforts in speaking to the artists and not everyone else. You know, that's the basic
Concentrated energy.
yeah, you know. And also, I can't be everywhere with everyone, you know, because the artist who's not committed to quality diminishes my brand, you know. So I have to be selective about the work that I do, you know. And that because I've decreased supply and increased demand, I can ask for more money, you know.
I see what you mean, yeah, sure.
So it is a business, definitely, you know, and one has to approach it as that, you know. But furthermore, one in this space, one must also understand that you are the business as well. It's not just you offer the product and the service, but you are also a product and a service. You know, in that artists don't just want the product and the service; they want the association with Kens as well.
Exactly, yeah,
You
sure,
know,
sure.
yeah. So I think applying such principles, it allows me to grow my portfolio and also my reach amongst the people that I want to reach.
Sure,
you know.
sure.
There'll always be someone who feels they are called by God to speak to the nations through music, you know, and that's the person I want to deal with.
Go through, yeah, okay,
you know,
sure.
So from my position, producing and just being in the technical space of the music, it looks very sustainable right now, and that there'll always be someone who wants to record and do a project. You know, I just need to make myself accessible to those people. You know, but when you go to other parts of this industry, you gotta approach it differently. I mean, like a singer, for one, cannot approach this business like I do. You know, they have to make a quick impact and go as big as possible, as quickly as possible, because generally for singers they have about 4 or 5 years at the top, and then they out. You know?
Interesting stuff.
So the deal is you gotta go in hard, you know.
Get as much
Yeah.
leverage when
Yeah.
you're still hot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
you
even Mike G also talks about it a lot.
Sure. You know, so that would be an approach for a singer. you know.
Sure.
Yeah, so there are different spaces, and they all work, man. They all work in conjunction, you know. For me, after 4 or 5 years, when the artist has lost relevance, there's someone else who's gaining relevance, you know, who I can speak
And
to.
you have built up experience of,
Sure.
of learning how to work with someone when they're on the peak.
Yeah.
And you can go down with them.
Yeah,
Rise with
exactly.
another one.
Yeah.
I think it's very nice and sustainable as
It's
well.
very sustainable,
Okay.
yeah.
And I think you have answered my question. I like that. Is there anything that you want to say to the listeners?
Hey, you're doing great work, man. I quite enjoyed.
Sure.
Yeah, one thing about me is I've realized of late that I like talking. You know? You know? So yeah, great work, man.
Well, thanks,
I
man.
thoroughly
Thank you very
enjoyed
much,
this.
Thank you very much. It's something that I would want to bring the musical side of it, because I know it totally makes sense for me to talk. Because I think in terms of the when they advise us podcasters that just do something that you resonate with.
Sure.
Don't just do something that's out of.
Sure.
So at least if I'm bringing in. So at least you're the first of the artists that I'm bringing. I'm going to bring in BVs so that they come and talk about their story, how it's like to be a backing vocalist, and how it's like to be, what's the word? The actual person, so the artist. I want to bring in the artist as well, so they can just explain. So they can just explain what it feels like to be an artist. And then they were talking about you guys. From their perspective. So at least now I got to get your perspective according to. Oh wait, I'm just missing things. But I think
I hear you. I
so just trying to, because at the end of the day, some people don't really respect art as profession. And it's sad, but. This is part of work. So at least we should learn everyone, so that at least this is a podcast which is trying to document as much as possible, so that everyone who's trying to get into that profession, it makes it easier for them to transition. And then they know, okay, it's like a school of some sort. Where when they listen to this, it's going to help them project their...
Definitely.
So they can just do the same template that you're using. I mean, hope it works, but you can always add or remove.
Definitely.
But thank you so much. Anything, I know that was for me. Anything for the listeners that you want to say?
Yeah, no, I think you just touched on something that's very close to my heart, man. That the art is not viewed as what you call it,
as professionals,
as professionals, you know, and I think that, and I'm going to be speaking to artists here, that I think we have created that perception, you know, as artists, you know, and I think it is up to us to professionalize this industry, you know. Whatever sector you're in, professionalize it. You know, let's take ourselves seriously, and people will take us seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, So I think that's a message to the fellow artists. You know,
fellow colleagues.
Yes.
Anyways, that's a wrap. Thank you very much, Mr. Khensani.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to your next projects and all that.
Sure.
Cheers.
I'll see you then, man.
Cheers.